What's going on, guys? We're back. My voice is a little still shot for the past couple of weeks of the sickness. Real quick, just wanted to go over new podcast coming out. Me and James Bot reviving DFH Locker Room, kind of teaming up with Prediction. It's going to be on twitch.tv/Prediction Esports today when you're watching this video, Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. It'll be every Tuesday, barring, scheduling conflicts at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So check it out there. It'll be on my YouTube the following day on Wednesday. So definitely check it out. It's called The Half Flip. It was funny because I saw a Reddit comment. It was like, oh, they should have called it The Pre-Flip. And I was like, you know what? That's a better name. But hey, oh well, we're here. It doesn't really matter. So we're calling it The Half Flip. Check it out. But let's get to our North America predictions and recap for the previous weekend. We'll be watching all the goals here, but we won't watch the entire video. So keep that in mind. It's just some background noise, so you guys can look at something while we talk about the games. So now we have 6 games to talk about. It makes it a little bit longer, but we're going to try and go through it a little bit quicker. I feel like sometimes I take a while to get through these when they don't need as much time. So we'll do NA recap today, by the way. Your recap will be for Thursday or Friday because of the podcast coming out. So Cloud9 versus Flight. I feel like Flight, we'll see a lot of their goals here. It's a lot of solo plays. A lot of Rapid or Seabass just making a play. I think, honestly, the most disappointing player so far in Rlcs, in probably both regions, is Memory. Memory hasn't done anything at all. And Flight, to me, is like, they have the skills to do these solo plays, but that's about it. We see, like, all these wall plays. Like, look at this right here, a solo play by Seabass, and we'll see a lot more. I just need to see more teamwork, some more control of the field. That's the problem with Flight. They just never really get control of the field. They lose to Cloud9. Cloud9 looked pretty decent. They're feeding Gimmick a lot of balls, and Gimmick was placing them extremely well. Squishy was feeding them well. Torment was feeding them well. Torment played better. So one thing I still worry about is Torment's positioning on defense at times. I'm not a huge fan right now. I feel like he is he's kind of struggling hard. Maybe most disappointing besides Memory for me would be Torment. But they got the win this week, and we'll see what they do going forward. Next up, Sonics and Rogue. Pretty close series. First killer relatively quiet throughout the series. And Shock continues to do Shock things. I'm actually going to bring up some stats here, so I have them going. But pretty close series. And honestly, this came down to Wonder just missing 2 shots. If Wonder hits those shots, Rogue could have won the series. And I think that's going to be one of those question marks going forward throughout the season is Kronovi just building a super team slowly but surely? He gets first killer now. Does he replace Wonder next season? And if they continue to not perform, I can easily see that. But that was pretty much it. It was a very close series. Sathu and Dapper continue to do what they need to do. But again, I feel like Wonder, just some misplays on defense and the missed shots. It's been... it's not good. And maybe it's like we spotlight him when he makes mistakes because people feel like he's worse. And maybe that's partially true. But, I don't know. I'm not a fan right now of Wonder, at least for this series. Scored 1 goal on 10 shots, 10% shooting, participating 42%, the lowest on his team. But I think Rogue is looking decent. It's going to be a very competitive top 6. Very, very competitive. And that's why I think Cloud9, even if they do begin to bounce back, it's going to be tough because all these teams are really good. So we'll see if Rogue can fight there. But that's why it's also a huge win for Sonics. Sonics is now in 3rd while Rogue is in 9th because of that win. So that could have been flipped. Sonics looking pretty good. Let's see if they keep this train rolling. I feel like that's one of those questions. Like in Europe with Singularity, they had one good week and then they kind of fell back down to reality. But is reality for Sonics that, or what everyone perceived them to be, or is this the new reality? So far, they're showing up. And even if they do start coming down a little bit, I think it's not going to be as far as maybe a Singularity, or at least from this past week. And I think they will win some and lose some here or there, but I think they probably are a playoff team at this point. So again, it's early, so who knows? But they're looking good so far. Next up, G2 Flight. Again, a lot of solo goals. I felt like Chicago didn't have the greatest series. Rizzo put in some clutch goals at the end of the series, which was really good to see. Jams played relatively solid, but Flight, it was probably their best series they've played maybe all season, except for maybe the PK series. But I think the PK series was a little bit more PK kind of looking bad. So maybe their best series, but now they're 0-4, and now they're in a deep, deep hole. They basically have to win out. Probably for a top 6 playoff spot, you will probably need to be 4-5. You might get lucky and have a tiebreaker at 3-6, but very likely 4-5. So they're gonna have to win 4 out of their next 5 games, which is very, very unlikely. So Flight probably not looking too good, but they can still fight, for their RLCS lives for those other spots. Next up, Energy and E United. This is what you expected. Like, Energy dominate E United. Like, E United got the first win, but E United just, like, it's the same thing as last season, except, like, they're just not... The odds are against you when you play so defensively or just don't have possession of the ball, and you just have to make a big play to counterattack, and, like, the odds are just against you there. It's not really going to happen. We're actually going to skip ahead a little bit in this video since it is so long, and we don't really want to watch Flight all day. So we'll go over here to Energy at the very least. Actually, we'll move even further ahead to like PK Ghost. So we'll get into here a little bit. But Energy, they're looking good. E United's looking relatively flat. They look like a non-playoff team right now. But yeah, we'll see if they can bounce back. PK versus Ghost, big win for Pittsburgh Knights. And honestly, every single week, I'm impressed by Rlcs. I feel like Rlcs is so consistently good. Like, even on the old PK roster, like, I felt like in big moments, I could see a little bit of mistakes coming out of Gyro and Miss from the nerves. We saw that in the DreamHack final for L versus G2. Saw a little bit at Worlds, but I feel like Rlcs is always so consistently good. I felt like this was one of his best series he played. And Ghost was a very good team. Like, this was a very competitive series. We see Gyro there finally moving up a little bit more. I think they still need to work on that and get him moving up the field, because I think he is a core part of this offense. Right here, once again, we got a little freeze action there, but they look good. Rlcs and AJ combo worked well, but I do think this team will revolve around Rlcs, and he's just consistently good. So they're looking like with this win, very big win, because everyone was talking about these rosters like, was AJ a huge mistake? And who knows? It still might be. There's still time for that. But big win here. PK looking like a playoff team, and then we'll see from there. Like, I think top 2 is still like up in the air for a bunch of these teams, so it's a good sign for them. Bad sign for Ghost. But Atomic is still really good too. On the other side, I feel like Atomic, one of the best players in the RLCS, maybe even just outright. I feel like he's just insanely good, and we'll see how this continues for Ghost. But I'm not too worried about Ghost. Look at that Rlcs pass. Look at that, beautiful. Next up, Space Station NRG. So on YouTube, I said Energy would win. I said on the show I'd pick Space Station just for counterpoints. And I thought it could be close. And it was. Space Station takes the win here. Very close series. I did feel like Energy played down a little bit, but Space Station was also very, very strong. XB, games 4 and 5, really clutched it up. But all of them, just good passing all around. Like, it's one of those things when people have space, it's just so nice to see that people will pass. Because we haven't been seeing it a lot in Europe for at least some of these teams. And also for teams like Flight and stuff like that in NA. So it's really good to see. Both teams obviously are great. They're going to be battling for top 2. Space Station, there was a big win just to bounce back from last week. And now they got their win back, basically. So Space Station is still looking relatively strong. But if they want a top 2, this is the way to get back on that train, right? So I would still, it's probably like Energy and Space Station right now, but again, there's also G2 lurking. Like, I would say G2 probably is one of those top 2 spots will go to them. Then it'll be Energy or Space Station, very likely. But who knows? Because again, like, so competitive right now. It is insane. Like, you can make a case for Sonics. I don't think Sonics will continue to perform this well. But I think there's big cases for PK and Ghost, depending on some results. Like PK, they started off slow, but they're bouncing back now. And if they just, ride that wave, who knows? Ghost is looking very strong. So who knows? It's going to be very, very competitive. But for the downsides, I think United, Flight, Cloud9 to an extent, like obviously not this week, but yeah, those teams aren't looking fantastic. And Rogue slightly as well. But I think Rogue is going to, I have more faith in Rogue than I do in E United right now, at least. But let's go over to predictions. So we'll do this relatively quick because I said this was going to be quicker, and it really wasn't, and that's how it always works. Ghost versus Flight. Again, I have no faith in Flight right now. They just do solo plays. They don't really have a teamwork and memory. Once again, probably the most disappointing player on the season. Energy Rogue. Rogue took him down last time. I think this is going to be a quick day. I think Energy is going to be like, you know what? We need to play good right at the start, and it's a wake-up call, losing the space station. This is the earliest game I think Energy will probably play all season long, and I think they'll take the win here. Ghost versus Sonics. I'm going to go Ghost here. I think that match before where they get to play Flight will help them to get a little momentum going. And I do think Ghost is probably the better team if I was going to say like week in and week out, but obviously Sonics has been surprising me all season. But I'm going to go Ghost here just because I think that Flight match will actually help them a bunch. So Sonics, a little bit of a rough schedule there where they have to play Ghost, who has already warmed up. But again, that doesn't really matter in the whole grand scheme of things. But I think Ghost will still win it. United versus Rogue. Very important game here for like those teams that have looked disappointing last week. Who's going to bump up a little bit. Because again, if you get 7th, like even if you don't make playoffs, which obviously whoever wins this is still going to be in that playoff talk. But, excuse me. Excuse me. But whoever wins this, riding for that 7th spot at the very least, So, pretty big game here. But again, I think I have more faith in Rogue right now than United. So, we'll go 3-1 there. PK versus Space Station. I think Space Station is the better team still. I think Rlcs is playing exceptional throughout the season, though. He's always consistent. I think it'll be close. I'll go 3-2. Why not? I think it's close enough for a 3-2 there. And then finally, Cloud9 versus G2. G2, one of the best teams in NA right now with great possession control, and Cloud9's had a really hard time trying to gain possession out of their defensive half. And I think G2 will eat them up. But this is one of those trap games, I think, for G2 where Cloud9 could win it. Because I'm not counting Cloud9 out completely yet. Because I think Torment will pick it up at some point. And I think if Torment picks it up, I think their team isn't that bad. I know a lot of people are still hating on Gimmick a ton, but I don't really see it that much. Sure, he's not playing amazing, but he's still playing pretty decent for a top 6 team. But I think if Torment picks up the defense here, I think Cloud9 has a shot. It could be a trap game for G2, but I am going to go G2 3-1. So there it is. That is your predictions for Saturday for North America. So this week is a normal week, Saturday and Sunday. The week after is the doubleheader week, where on Monday we will have games from NA and Europe. So there'll be a lot more. Not sure how I'm doing predictions yet for that, but we'll see. But that'll do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for my voice. Remember to watch the Half Flip podcast. Me and James Bott putting it on, teaming up with Prediction Esports. It'll be on their Twitch. I'll probably have a timer up, hopefully, ahead of time, 15 minutes ahead of time. Then we'll probably do a sound check with the chat because I'm not very good at producing these things. And then we'll get into the show. So we'll probably start 3:10 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely check that out live. And check it out on the YouTubes on Wednesday. But that'll do it for me. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.